Hi friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to cover what advice I'd give to my younger self if I could travel back in time.
See you in the future. You mean the past? Exactly.
Number 1, it's okay to prioritize your own needs. When I was younger, I was obsessed with proving my value to other people and was terrified of being disliked. I, unfortunately, am a people pleaser. It's something I've always battled with. I've realized that a lot of this came from feeling insecure and seeking validation in order to feel useful. Aiming to prioritize myself always sounded so selfish to me. And I think it's because society often preaches that selfish actions are wrong and make you a terrible person. When that, in my opinion, is the furthest thing from the truth. You need to take care of yourself in order to properly take care of those around you. Part of self-acceptance is learning that you can't please everyone and that it is important to prioritize your own needs. By trying to please everyone, you become a default and neutral version of yourself. The funny part is, you don't really end up pleasing anyone, and if someone is pleased with you, they're not really liking you for you because you're adapting yourself to fit their agenda. If you try to fit in with everyone, you ultimately become boring. It's kind of like being vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream. They're flavors that most people like, but most people would not choose as their favorite. Number 2, choose people who choose you.
Mr. Frodo's not going anywhere without me.
No, indeed, it is hardly possible to separate you, even when he is summoned to a secret council, and you are not.
As I've grown older, I've realized how short life is and how much the people I surround myself with matter when it comes to my happiness. Sure, it's fun to chase people sometimes, but for the most part, it is not worth it. Your friends or romantic interest should not feel confusing or stressful. It should not feel combative or uneasy. It should be very easy. And if it's not, you're just wasting your time. You shouldn't feel afraid of just being yourself around the people in your life, and you definitely don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Because what's the point of pursuing this relationship if you're not even allowed to be the real you? If there's something that you personally want to work on, then do it. But don't change yourself to please others.
Find the people that it doesn't take work to be around. The best relationships don't feel like work. You make the other person happy being yourself. They make you happy by being themselves. Everyone's honest. No one's putting on an act that they can't carry on for the next decade. The same thing with friendships. The best friendships are friendships that were formed over nothing.
Before I move on to number 3, if you're still here and want future videos like this, consider subscribing and hitting the like button below. Thank you so much in advance, and back to our scheduled programming. Number 3, become best friends with yourself.
The more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you.
This is much easier said than done, and as I've said, my younger self exerted a lot of her energy into making other people happy, and the same was not done for my own needs. In that mess, I neglected to practice self-acceptance, but more importantly, self-awareness. Taking time to get to know yourself the way you do most other people is one of the most important things you can do to feel fulfilled in life. There's a super famous quote by the philosopher Socrates that says, "The unexamined life is not worth living." So figure out why you are having the thoughts that you have and try to find the tools to help manage them. The people in our lives are very important to our happiness, but at the end of the day, you are the person you are living with at all times and the lens that you see reality through. Take control of the voice inside your head, rein it in, and mold it to become your companion, as it is the first voice you hear when you wake up in the morning and the voice that lulls or stresses you to sleep. And you want the person and the voice that you're stuck with to be someone you like, trust, and want to be around. Here are some steps that have helped me try to achieve this. Number 1, honor your needs. When you don't feel like going out to a party or event but are worried about other people's opinions, just don't go. No one cares as much as you do. Take the time to rest and recuperate if your mind and body need it. You'll feel much better, and the person you'll affect the most positively is you. Number 2, build trust with yourself. Stop asking other people for their opinions before making a decision. You're doing this because you don't want to take responsibility for your actions if something goes wrong. You don't need to know your friend's opinion on what menu item to order, whether you should go to an event next week or not, or whether it's okay to call in sick. Do what you think will make you happy, or do what you think you need. Trust yourself, and if something goes wrong, follow my next point. Number 3, forgive yourself. Give yourself the same grace you'd give to a loved one when they make a mistake. Stop judging yourself with impossible standards that no one can live up to. It's okay to mess up. It's okay not to be perfect. Being open to failure and mistakes is what allows us to level up at the end of the day. Number 4, take care of your mental hygiene. It's funny how we put a lot of emphasis on our physical hygiene and have made routines like brushing our teeth twice a day, or at least I hope you do, showering and shaving, the list goes on. But we don't do the same when it comes to our mental health. Taking a few moments a day to figure out exactly what's bothering you and working to heal and wash away those thoughts are just as important as showering. Because sure, your breath might not scare people away with your awful stank, but your mood or emotional baggage just might. So if you are hurting, take time to assess what is wrong and be compassionate with yourself just like you would to a friend. Take time to figure out what is causing the hurt and find the tools to help manage the problems you are facing. And then the whole process comes full circle. You start again by honoring your needs. Number 4, take more risks and practice courage.
And finally, it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends. I award 10 points to Naval Longbottom.
I have always been a cautious person. One may even say way too cautious. As someone who overthinks many of my choices, I was very resistant to trying new things, and I think I missed out on many amazing experiences due to fear of making mistakes. But your youth is all about making mistakes. Actually, scrap that. Life is all about making mistakes. Making mistakes and growing and learning from them. I ended up having many of my firsts in my mid-20s and learning lessons most people have learned much, much earlier in life. A lot of the time it was because I was scared of being judged by other people. But little did I know that the person that was judging me the most was me. I was always scared of going to parties in my late teens and early 20s. The thought of drinking and socializing with a bunch of drunk people in a room really overwhelmed me, and I always opted out of the events when I was invited. My very first party in university just so happened to also be my very last party until far after I graduated. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think my university experience would have been a lot more memorable if I had just gone out and trusted myself more instead of succumbing to the fear of worst case scenarios. Another example where I could have taken more risks was to speak my mind even if it made me or others uncomfortable. Sometimes it is a good thing to keep your thoughts to yourself, and I do think we should always consider our words before speaking them. But I would often restrain myself from giving my opinion due to the fear of being misunderstood, or worse, being disagreeable. If I didn't agree with what someone said, I'd often just stay silent due to fear of confrontation. But confronting someone, especially in a constructive and calm way, is the best way to keep your relationships healthy and genuine. And usually, avoiding confrontation causes more problems later that could have been communicated and solved in the now. There's a quote by Ralph Emerson that says, "Don't be too timid and squeamish about your actions. All of life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better." And it's true. It's not just advice I'd give my younger self, but something I need to remind myself every so often now. I'm not truly living unless I push myself outside of my comfort zone, because that's the only way I will continue to evolve and learn. So if you've gotten this far into the video, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope some of these reflections have resonated with you. I actually have a sister video coming out really soon with 4 more words of advice I'd give my younger self. So if you're interested, look out for that video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.